definitely hoping that like conditions were going to improve, and they have definitely not improved.
Hi, Alex, I'm Jade.
And nice to meet
I
you.
wanted to ask you, most of all, since you've gone from one amazing thing to another, first of all, congratulations. How is it that you stay motivated on a day-to-day basis?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think like anybody else, I struggle with motivation. Actually, I mean, no, I guess the best answer is by finding the right types of projects that keep me motivated. And I think Arctic Ascent, is a good example of that kind of a project where it's something that can get you really inspired for several months ahead of time to train and prep and be psyched, and then you do the expedition. And obviously you try your hardest while you're there because it's this incredible opportunity, this incredible trip. When I came home from Arctic Ascent, I was super fired up from the whole trip because I learned so much and I read a bunch of books and, I had a great time with the team and we climbed these great walls. Then I come home super inspired to train and, like to be a good climber. And so I think that having a good goal like that can really sustain you for maybe 6 or 7 months of the year of just like trying your hardest and like being your best.
Actually, it's funny because that would have been my next question. I mean, I'm just amazed at the things that you've done one after the other. I'm sure there's a sense of achievement, but do you feel like, oh no, what's next? And how do you think of what you want to do next?
It's an interesting time to ask because right now we're waiting for our second child is about to be born. And so I've been at home for a while. I'm not working on anything big because I'm trying to stay close to home. And I am definitely feeling a little bit more like restless, like, oh, I need a project. I need something to work on. I need a goal. I think though it's nice to have at least one big project a year, something like Arctic Ascent, like one big thing during the year that you can sort of focus your energy into and work on.
I guess this is the way you keep your life exciting, but making sure there's always one big thing to look forward to in terms of having a direction for the day-to-day.
It helps to have good goals to keep you on that path, because otherwise it's just so easy to just stay up too late, watch TV, like do whatever, just like it's like waste your time. But if you don't have the right goals, it's like it's easy to let time just slip by.
When is it that you feel happiest, would you say? I mean, because obviously, I guess pre-family, it was probably your time on the wall. But then now that you have one kid with another on the way, when is it that you really feel like your best?
I mean, I love like the fun moments at home with the family. Like I love playing with my daughter and like we have a nice routine every morning with like doing, taking care of the household stuff. And like that's great. But I would say that in some ways, I feel my happiest doing something like Arctic Ascent when you feel uniquely well suited to a challenge that you're actively working on. Yeah, and in some ways, my happiest is like being in a tent in Greenland, with like this big wall above us, knowing that there's this big challenge and we're there to do this thing that we're good at doing and we're excited about doing. And especially a project like that where it feels like the right reason. It's like, it's a story that's important to tell and you're excited to share it. And everything about it, you're like, oh, this feels like we're the right people in the right place at the right time, that kind of thing.
I mean, you've talked quite a bit about a sense of purpose, and I do think that helps a lot in living a life that is fulfilling. What would you say your journey was like to finding that purpose in the context of maybe helping someone else who might be struggling to find their purpose in life?
Oh man, I would say it's all just a journey. I mean, it's day, it's like month, like who knows? I wouldn't say that I found my purpose. I would say that I found something that I love to do, climbing, at a very early age, and that's been a real gift that my entire life I've had this one thing that I love to do. And then I think that, now the challenge is how do I incorporate this thing that I love to do into something slightly more useful, like into something more purposeful. Because that's like Arctic Ascent and these other expeditions where you can incorporate the scientific side, incorporate the storytelling side, because just doing this thing that I love to do is really satisfying for myself, but not that purposeful in a way. It doesn't feel
you're the first to do the free solo, come on, that's some sort of purpose in a sense, but I get what you mean, like this is like a bigger purpose.
Yeah, I mean, with free solo, I've heard a lot of people say that they're super inspired by the film and whatever, but ultimately I didn't make it for it to be an inspiring film. Like I did it just for my own climbing experience. Something like Arctic Ascent, I mean, we were doing scientific experiments for universities all over the world, and that feels useful in a way that free solo doesn't.
How do you balance, I mean, now having a family, as you take on projects that may be slightly more risky? Do you find that there is a bit more need to balance that out, or do you still go in with the same sort of feel?
It's not so much in the risk profile of the projects that I'm taking, but again, I guess coming back to purpose, like whether or not the project is worth being away from my family for that long. I've always tried to minimize physical risk as much as possible. Like I don't want to get hurt climbing for myself. I don't want to get hurt for any kind of climbing project, whether I have a family or not. But if I'm going to spend a lot of time away from my family, then I want it to be for a project that I'm proud of, that I think is worthwhile, that I think is, contributes in some way.
I guess it also helps that your partner is really, really supportive. How did you know that she was the one? You seem very purposeful, like, in terms of your climbing, but also in terms of like how you guys got together and how you dated her and you were like very sure. How did you know?
I get questions like, you decide to devote your life to climbing, and I never really devoted life to climbing. I've just chosen to go climbing every day for the last 30 years. And I think that my relationship is similar in some ways, where I prefer hanging out with her than anybody else. And so I'm kind of like, oh, I can do this the rest of my life. Like, that's great. It's like in some ways I didn't overthink it. It's not like a big choice. I'm just kind of like, oh, I really like doing this, and I can keep doing this and still enjoy it.
What I'm getting from you is that it feels like every day it's a series of small choices that you make kind of thoughtfully every day.
Try to. I guess. What is life if not a series of moments that you get to decide on?
What was your favorite moment working on this project?
A moment that comes to mind that's in the film, basically is the end of the film, is when we come over the top of Ingvaborglag, because we were just so relieved to have finished the wall. And I think you see that from both me and Hazel. We're just so happy to get to the top, not just for summiting the peak, but the actual relief that we had found a way through. It felt like a maze trying to navigate the upper head wall, and we didn't really know where to go because it's the first ascent.
Yeah.
And it was very stressful. And so when we finally came over the top, we were like, oh my God, we did it. We were so happy.
I think I only have 1 minute, so I'm just gonna do my final question in. How do you keep your life exciting?
Well, I think trips like this, like I was saying, I think one big project a year is enough to keep life pretty exciting, because an expedition like Arctic Ascent, is an incredible expedition with these great walls, the scientific component, like I learned so much, but then also it's pretty hard living. We're in a tent, we're not showering for 6 weeks, there's no running water, so then you come home and you're so grateful to see your family, so grateful to have a hot shower, so grateful to have a tap water and a toilet, everything about it, you're like, this is so luxurious. I think that having the right expeditions like this, having the right goals throughout the year can really keep your whole life like feeling better. And
a little bit of hardship, I'm getting that helps as well,
exactly.
Because then you get
having a little bit of hardship really reminds you of how comfortable life is most of the time.
But that is quite important, right? I do think so. Well, thank you so much. Yes, Juliana, I got it. I'm gonna wrap up. Thank you so much. It's been really good meeting you. And I'm very inspired, even though you didn't mean for it to be inspiring. The movie was really, really inspiring.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, good luck with your piece. Thank you.
Thank you.